Hello everyone! So for this video I'm going to be doing a little watercolor illustration of the drawing that I did in my Quick Sketches number 9 video of my character Bear. I had a lot of requests to color this one, particularly to color it in watercolors, so I decided to do that for you guys since a lot of people seem to want to see me color it with watercolors. This character, her name is Bear. She is one of my ball jointed dolls, and towards the end of the video I will insert a little clip where I show you what she actually looks like in doll form, because I have her sitting by my bed. So if you want to see what she actually looks like, stick around to the end of the video and I will show that to you guys soon. So the tools that I'm using for this video are the Arches watercolor paper that I used in my Over the Garden Wall illustration that was also done with watercolors. The sheets are 9x12, but as I did with the other illustration, I cut them down to the size that I wanted. This picture was a lot smaller than it is, but I scanned it in with my computer and then blew it up and printed it out so I could transfer it onto the watercolor paper. I did film the transfer of the sketch onto the new paper, but the footage was super dark, so I just decided to keep that out of the final video. What else am I using? I'm just using a bunch of random paint brushes, watercolor brushes, and my water brushes that I've talked about many times before. The paints I'm using are my Winsor watercolor palette. After I started working on this, and towards the end, I realized that I should have used one of the watercolor palettes that I got that I showed in my haul video, because I could have done like a first impressions type deal with them, and it was too far gone and I didn't want to start over. So I will be doing another watercolor illustration sometime in the near future, or more than one if you guys want that, showing those different palettes that I purchased and giving like a first impressions review type thing. If you guys are interested in that, you can let me know in the comments down below if that's something you want to see. For this video though, I did use those, the Finetec watercolors, the like gold metallic ones in this illustration, and I'm going to give like a first impressions type deal sort of towards the end of the video when I actually do use them, and they are so beautiful. I love them very much, and they're really good quality. When I started this piece, I started by laying down the undertones of her skin that I wanted, so like blues and purples and greens, and then I started adding the skin colors. But since I've never used this particular watercolor palette before, I noticed that the colors were really intense, and so her skin tone ended up being a lot darker than I originally intended, because the doll I have, her skin is really pale, but I had always wanted her to have a darker resin color, so I kind of just went with the more kind of deep red skin tone. It's not really deep red, it's just like a dark kind of tannish color, but I do like how that ended up. Even though it wasn't originally what I intended, I just kind of ended up going with it. It turned out to not be as big of an issue as I thought it was, because I was like, oh no, this isn't what I wanted it to look like, but I'm glad that I kind of went with it, because I did end up liking how it looked in the end. And as with my Over the Garden Wall watercolor illustration, I wanted to keep the painting style of this a lot more painterly and loose, rather than keeping things super tight like I usually do with my Copic Markers, or in the past have done with my Copic Markers. I just like the way that looks better when it's a lot more like flowy. I think it complements my art style a lot more if it's not super tied down, and there's no like inking pens or anything used in this. It's all watercolor on top of Colorace pencil. I do go in at the end and add some Copic marker in, but I didn't film that, and it was just to like tighten up certain areas that needed to be, like her eyes and under her neck, and under her chin, on her neck, and like around the edges of her hat and stuff. But other than that, the entire thing is done in watercolor. Something else that I kind of had a bit of an issue with when I was working on this was the fact that I had access to so many colors. When I'm painting, I'm usually painting with oils, as I've mentioned in previous videos, and I work in something called the Zorn palette, which only has 4 colors. It has yellow ochre, cadmium red, titanium white, and Payne's gray, and those are the only 4 colors that I use when I'm oil painting, and you can make every color with that. So I just kind of felt a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of colors that I had, so I ended up just kind of sticking to certain colors instead of just going crazy and using the entire palette, because I like things to remain unified, even though I feel like this one got a little bit ununified, I guess is how you would say it. But overall, I do like how it turned out, even though the color selection got a bit nuts for me. I was like, oh my gosh, there's like, I think there's 48 colors in this palette, and I was like, oh no, there's too many. How do I choose what color I'm supposed to do? And it was like a whole thing. But So I'm about to lay down the Finetec metallic watercolors, and I thought I would talk about them as I was doing that really quickly. They're so beautiful, as I mentioned before. They come off sort of, they're slightly opaque, but they're still slightly transparent because you can see the color that I had already laid down, but they don't look glittery, they look like gold foil, which is really interesting. I know they're used for calligraphy, but they are marketed as watercolors. They're definitely good for layering over watercolors or markers or anything to give a metallic sheen without like having to lay ink on them. If you want to see like the actual metallic part, because you can see it in the video right here, but it shows up better in like a photo. There's a photo on my Instagram where you can actually see the metallic the metallicness of the colors that I laid down. So if you want to see that, you can check out my Instagram, and there's a link down below for that. They're super pigmented, and I only used the gold ones, and then I think I used one of the blue ones that was in the other palette, but the gold is so beautiful. They're really reflective and sparkly, and they don't transfer when you touch them with your hands, because that's something that I have a problem with, is when I run my hand over it, if my hand gets like all glittery and stuff. These don't transfer at all once they're dry, and I thought that that was really great. But yeah, that's my first impressions of the Finetec watercolors. I'm sure I will use them in other videos because, as I said, they're absolutely beautiful. And if you're looking for something like that, I definitely recommend picking these up. They're so cool. But I guess that is really all I have time for, and there will be a little clip at the end showing what Bear actually looks like, and her little illustration is next to her, so you can see them kind of side by side. But yeah, that's all I have time for. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you shortly for the next video. Bye! Hello once again, everyone. As promised, here is Miss Bear, along with the little portrait that I did of her. Close-up shot of what she looks like. She is an Asian ball-jointed doll. She's made of resin. She is a Volks F20 sculpt. I got her during the Volks FCS in 2014. In case anybody was wondering and is into ball-jointed dolls and wants to know what her sculpt is. I love her outfit. It's so cute. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you once again shortly for the next video. Bye!